Forrest Griffin, in one of the main events, he's going against Rashad Evans. So the common thought, and the thought, I've been thrown out there as well, Extreme Couture, the game plan is always great. It's going to be that game plan against Rashad Evans and Greg Jackson, and it's going to be really interesting to watch how it breaks down. Then I'm talking to you off camera, and you're like, I haven't really talked to Forrest, and we don't really know who's doing his game plan, and it's a week away. So is that usually the way it is? Because I figured, months out, you guys are sitting there breaking things down, and here's the game plan, and he's kind of training all over the place because he's got ties in Georgia. He's got ties to Vanderlei Silva's gym here in town a little bit.
He was here, throughout the training cycle and training very hard. I think, I just haven't seen him this week, and talked to him this week. I'm not sure if I'm part of his corner for this fight or not, which isn't really that big a deal. I mean, truthfully, the work's done at that point. There's not a lot I'm going to do on the outside of the cage for him. But we did talk and speak about Rashad while I was in training cycle getting ready, for Brock. And I think he has a pretty fair idea of what he wants to do anyway. There's no real secret with Forrest anyway. You turn him on, he's going to come after you. He likes to lay it on the line, and it makes for an exciting fight. He's a bigger athlete than Rashad. Rashad's elusive and a great wrestler. So, I think the aggressive guy that's bigger, he's going to come after him, and he's going to have to hunt him down. I think Rashad's going to, like he did with Chuck, kind of get Forrest to chase him and try and catch him coming in. So that's going to be, that's going to be the fight. Who has their way? Can Forrest land some effective punches, corner him long enough to do some damage? I think Forrest's jiu-jitsu is probably better than Rashad's, and I think he's underrated. Forrest is underrated there. Forrest is in great shape, and I think he's operating with a lot of confidence right now, which are all positives for him. Rashad is fighting from his heart at this point, where I think he had a tendency to get in his head. Against Tito, we saw that he didn't pull the trigger. He could have easily won that fight, but he was kind of got in his head instead of fighting from his center, from his heart, and that's made him pretty formidable. He looks great, so it's going to be a great fight.
All right. One last fight breakdown, because Vanderlei is here in town. He's going against Quentin Jackson. And I got to tell you, coming in, my biggest question with Quentin, well, I think it's always been his head. But now, this is a pretty daunting task. You've got to overcome the mental aspect of getting really wrecked by a guy twice, and all the stuff that happened with his management, big change going to the UK. Can you predict what a guy's head is going to be like with all that on his plate?
Yeah, I think that's the question. Especially in my mind, the thing that brought him back online and got him back in his winning ways was the training camp, having Juanito there to kind of fashion camps and specifically designed for him. And that's the question now. Where's he training? Who's he training with? Who's kind of taking care of him? Because he's one of those athletes that needs somebody to really kick him in the butt and keep him online and on track. And that's the biggest question in my mind with Rampage. So, I think Vanderlei moving here, kind of adjusting his whole life in order to change his way, which was a lot what Rampage did a few years ago, bringing Juanito on and completely changing his camp. Rampage is still in that mode. He's hungry. He's headed in the right direction, and there's some question marks there with Rampage.
Yeah. Do you think it's unfair to throw him in there at this stage with what's going on? I know people have asked Dana White that, and he said, "Fighting's tough. Tough luck."
Well, I don't know that it's unfair. This is what Rampage does.
Yeah.
Quentin is a fighter. He's been fighting his entire life before he ever stepped in any ring or in cage anywhere. That's what he does. So that's all he knows. I don't think it's unfair. This is part of who he is, and he's going to have to overcome the adversity of this too, and go out and see if he can be successful.
All right. I keep saying last one, but we got to ask about the heavyweight fight on the card, Mir and Nogueira. I think there's a little rivalry that's developed. I think more of the heat may be coming from the Nogueira side, being around Frank during this reality show. I don't know. That's just my read on it. It's reality TV, so they feed us what we want, I guess. But is the easy breakdown in this one? Hey, Nogueira basically has similar strengths to Frank, maybe better striking, but he's so good at jiu-jitsu, and that's Frank's strength as well. That how does Frank win the fight if he's got to go mano a mano with the strength against strength?
Yeah, I think that's a fairly accurate breakdown of the fight. I think if the two jiu-jitsu practitioners negate that piece of the game, neither one of them is probably going to take the other down and find a way to submit him unless one makes a huge blunder. Then you get into conditioning, going a 5-round fight, and striking and the other pieces of the game. And I think the track record leans towards Nogueira. He's weathered tons of storms. He's a fairly adept striker. he's even taken beatings and managed to come back and find ways to win. So, and I think Frank, if he's had a knock, it's that his conditioning isn't always as sharp as it should be. He doesn't seem to deal well with guys in his face hitting him. So, I kind of lean towards Nogueira in a 5-round, probably a decision, but a 5-round brawl.
All right. Well, this may be the last time we talk to him, because after this, I don't think fight people are going to get to talk to Randy Couture, because it's going to be Entertainment Tonight.
Yeah, well.
You sure you're not going to get too big for us?
I'll never get too big. I love this sport.
Yeah.
The sport is a big part of my life and what I do. So it doesn't matter where the acting and the movie stuff goes. I'm still going to be here at Extreme Couture and doing all the other things that I've spent a lot of time building.
All right. Happy holidays, and I liked the story that Kim told about recent birthday present. That that is a bonus to marrying someone who's got their birthday right near Christmas. You're done, right? You don't have to buy. That's it. You don't get anything else big.
There's an upside for me and a downside for her. I think it gets wrapped up into one. But she was wanting a piano, and so we picked up a piano, and that's a big enough gift that it kind of covers both bases.
There you go. I like it.